The story begins during the summer of 2013 when a high school girl fell in a school. There was a note she left behind. She wrote that it was due to exam stress. The incident became a major social issue, and the school announced that they would lower the difficulty of exams to reduce pressure. However, not long after, the same thing happened at that school again. The strange part was that this student had never complained about academics. Unable to solve the repeated problem, the school eventually shut down. And only after time had passed did one truth come to light. Near the school, there was the grave of the first girl who had jumped. Some say that the girl is now a ghost, still lingers in the abandoned school. At this moment, a YouTuber named Yunha decided to shoot at the school to confirm the rumors. She was with her videographer. She felt the air was different, which gave off a special vibe. Let's start exploring the abandoned school. Cameraman, follow carefully, she proclaimed. She led the way until she reached the school entrance. They didn't know someone was watching them from the window. A man with messy hair and had residential eyes. As they entered, they saw a jolly face covered with blood. The cameraman was scared, screaming, while Yunha told him to calm down, knowing it was only a construction sign. Yunha teases the cameraman. She continued to walk while asking the cameraman if he was still not used to these kinds of surroundings, even after doing the job for over a year. The cameraman then replied that no one knows it would feel different from horror movies. He was annoyed at Yunha, planning to find a new job soon. Yunha calls him. The lady saw a television inside a room that suddenly turned on. The TV shut down, and the cameraman shivered in fear. Yunha also felt scared, as she believed that an abandoned school shouldn't have electricity. Their camera also shut off. The guy panicked, and Yunha then concludes that a ghost really appeared in this abandoned school. Both of them looked at each other and decided to just go out of the school. However, something strange rushed towards them at a fast speed. They were terrified when someone said, "Already leaving? You can't leave now, so come to me." It was the ghost in the rumor. She ran so fast, chasing Yunha and the cameraman, who were also running away for their lives. The ghost was ready to eat them alive. Yunha and the cameraman run in separate ways without any intention. "What the hell? Is that really a ghost?" Yunha uttered. While walking, she happened to pass the red-eyed guy. She was startled when the guy pulled her face and let her enter the men's toilet. The ghost was still searching for the two humans she had seen. She felt strange since she wasn't able to find them. She reached the men's toilet and was hoping that those two humans were hiding inside. She opened the toilet door one by one, but she found no one. Then, the last toilet's lock moved. The ghost was sure that the humans were hiding in this cubicle, so she checked it from above. However, the guy who pulled Yunha is the one she saw. "You got caught," the guy said, and the ghost screamed in fear and fell to the ground. Yunha was standing beside the guy. "Who are you?" "There shouldn't be any other yokai here besides me," the ghost stated. The guy then proclaimed he was an exorcist. The ghost stood and believed that the exorcist guy had come to banish her. The guy then told her she was a vengeful spirit born from the fusion of a soul and evil energy. He grabbed a talisman and added that she would only harm people if she stayed longer in the human world. He intends to stop her from wandering in this world and surrender peacefully. Of course, the ghost refused and claimed she's still bound to this school, and she hasn't finished her revenge. Moreover, she wants more people to know about her suffering. The exorcist guy and Yunha looked up when the ghost decided to transform. She was telling the guy he should have come before she gained power. She then attacked the exorcist, and the guy flew away and still dared to say he almost died. The ghost was shocked by the fact that he survived. Her appearance now is a tiger-looking ghost. She was confused about whether she would believe that the guy exorcist was really a human. The guy grabbed something from his bag. It was a long golden weapon, and this thing was shimmering. "Only humans can become exorcists. We are chosen pilgrims, meant to stop yokai like you," he proclaimed. The ghost then replied that if she kills him today, it'll serve as a good warning to the other exorcists. She then charged at the guy with killing intent. He tried to attack him, but the guy blocked her attack. He spun his weapon and dodged away. The ghost ends up hitting the air, and the guy then jumped and attacked her. His attack deals so much distraction. The ghost vomits blood. She was moaning in pain while holding her painful wound. She was stuck on the wall, and Yunha was dumbfounded watching her. The guy stood in front of the ghost and said, "What's wrong? Weren't you going to make an example out of me?" The ghost was furious and dashed toward him. She attacked him, but he managed to block her several times. He even hit her and teased her. A silhouette appeared, and the ghost suddenly fled in fear. Of course, the exorcist won't let her escape. He attacked her with his circle strike, and the talisman on his weapon formed into something like a water drop. He attacked it toward the ghost. Despite that the ghost was running too fast, the attack from the guy still reached her and hit her face. The talisman floated above her and sipped her in. She was screaming, but her scream couldn't do anything as she had finally vanished. She was completely sealed, and the guy then picked up the talisman. A golden-toed exorcist broker, Jack Dong, then said, "Well done, Hong Seo. You finished the job cleanly." Seo suddenly hit him. Jack Dong was annoyed and asked him what was with the sudden violence. "Shut up. Do you have any idea how much trouble you caused me?" Seo replied. Jack Dong then told him he should be honored to work with a professional broker like him. At the same time, Yoonha and her videographer were kneeling on the ground with talismans on their foreheads. They were staring at Seo and Jack Dong arguing. Seo carried Jack Dong then said, "A professional who gives me the wrong info on a yokai? Since when did a maiden ghost turn into a tiger?" Jack Dong then said that a yokai with hamen has already appeared. A hamen means tiger stripes. Seo was puzzled, wondering what he meant, but he told him he didn't need to know at all. He let out his tongue, telling Seo they should first settle the request. Seo grabbed the letters, wondering who would be the sender. Jack Dong then said it must be from his family. He was only told that the letter was important and must be delivered. He was shocked, and he jumped when he saw Seo tear it into pieces. "Are you insane? This is only going to make things worse for me," he said while picking up the letters. Seon then reminded him he had already cut ties with his family long ago, so he wants them to come to him if there's something they have to say. Jack Dong sighed then answered, "You used to be such a cute kid. How did you end up like this?" Meanwhile, Seo arrived at his apartment. Inside was very messy since he didn't try to clean up. He was lying on the couch, staring at the ceiling. He was thinking of his family, but he told himself he had no reason to get involved with them anymore. He believes there's no family left for him. While thinking, someone rang his doorbell. He rose and looked directly at his door. He opened and said, "Who's there?" It turned out it was a kid with her luggage. He was startled when the kid threw a talisman on his head. He stood still, telling the kid he was a human. The kid then honestly replied that she really thought he was a yokai. She also asked if he was the exorcist named Hong Seo. Seo pulled the talisman from his forehead and replied she's right. "Insolent fool. You dared to drag me all the way here," the kid said while pointing her index finger at Seo. Seo was puzzled. The kid then showed him the ripped letter and told Seo that he told her she should come and find him if she had something to say. Seo then remembered this letter was the one he ripped earlier. "You're pale and skin and bones. How do you expect to become a warrior under these conditions?" the lady asked. Seo didn't know who this kid was, but all he knew was that he needed to stay out of this mess. He closed the door, but the kid was knocking and made a noise. He believes the little girl would leave on her own if he would just ignore her. However, some strange things appeared in front of him. He was shocked and was sweating in fear. He then heard the kid saying that this is the future that awaits him, a world ruled by yokai in darkness. Seo then opened the door, and the little girl crossed her arms, smiling, and asked him if he's now ready to talk. Few days ago, the kid was in her house. She was told that a huge threat is approaching her soon. She will be the moon priestess who once saved the world in the distant past. The great mountain tiger, Moger, whom she defeated in her past life, cursed her before being vanquished. That powerful curse has persisted even after her reincarnation. Mayer's curse is to face her in battle once more, so it will definitely reappear. Even if you say that, what do you expect me to do? I'm only 8 years old. The kid replied. She's Sun Seah, the reincarnated moon priestess. The one telling her everything to happen in the future is her cat. The cat warned her to prepare for the rematch. Seah panicked and said that she was just a kid who doesn't even know the proper use of spells yet. She doesn't know how she is supposed to stop a great yokai, the so-called king of monsters. She cried, saying she doesn't want to crush like a tofu, and she definitely doesn't want to die. The cat asked her to calm down and explained that Mauga was only defeated because the moon priestess and her guardian, the very first exorcist, joined forces with the sun warrior. Years ago, they summons the soul of the sun warrior into the present world for the final battle. It feels reassuring for Seah upon hearing it, and she then asks about the sun warrior's whereabouts. However, the cat also doesn't know. Seiya was annoyed and pulled the cat. The cat told her to calm down, but she can't calm down. When Seiya let go of the cat then added that on December 25th, according to the fortune teller, the Sun Warrior's soul entered the body of an exorcist born on that day. But there are 4 candidates. What? Then it's settled. What's there to worry about? Seiya asked with crossed arms. If there are candidates, she planned to recruit them as all her warriors. The cat was surprised, thinking that Seiya is indeed a genius. Seiya then ordered the cat to send a letter as soon as possible. A few days later, Seiya was upset since none of those 4 candidates came. She was crying, scared knowing that the world is in danger. She even made rice cakes herself to welcome those candidates, but now, she can't accept that no one showed up. As per the cat, there's no helping it. The top exorcist, Chong Yun, is currently in seclusion training, so it'll take time for him to come. The leader of the Warang Gate is also in training and can't leave, so it is difficult for him to leave his post. Expecist Kim Subin is on hunger strike because his parents are against it. Alright, let's hear the last one's reason. It must be something really important, right? Seiya stated. The cat then showed her the ripped letter and told her that the reply of the last candidate, which was Seo, is he doesn't have the reason and that she must come find him herself. The little girl was very devastated that her letter was ripped since it was the first time she wrote a letter and even put her precious quokka sticker on it. At that moment, she decided to go herself to Seo. Back in the present time, she told everything to Seo while pulling out her cat from her pack bag. If only I hadn't torn up the letter, I wouldn't be dealing with this hassle now, Seo uttered. Seiya then told him to apologize to her instead of regretting. Young miss, do you sense the energy of the Sun Warrior from this person? The cat suddenly asked. According to him, Seiya had 2 special connections in her past life, so he was sure the kid must feel something. Seiya looked back at Seo, but she didn't feel anything at all. But staring at him again made her think that he really is a yokai. So you're telling me to become your subordinate and fight the great yokai? Seo asked. Seiya then replied, exactly. Of course, I wouldn't make you do it for free. Inside her luggage is 1 billion, and she promised Seo that she will give him 10 times this money once the job is done. But then, Seo closed the luggage and said he's not interested. He told the kid he is not the warrior she was looking for, so she must go back home. Seiya whispered to her cat, telling it that Seo is weird for not accepting the offer when in dramas, they usually agree right away. The cat then told her to be careful, believing that people who talk like Seo are usually psychopaths. The cat also told her to wait in the car while he negotiated with her. Seiya then gets back to her car while Seo was looking at her through the window. He was shocked when he heard the cat asking him if he's looking for his enemy. How do you know that? He replied. The cat then told him his expression is quite fierce, and that he did some background research. As per the cat, they're not in a situation where they can just leave because Seo wants them to. In this case, he believes helping each other achieve their goal is the best option. He asked Seo about what Sapung Dusa did to him, and Seo was shocked that the cat knew about Dusa. One day, Dusa went to them. From what Seo heard, she seemed to be looking for something. Seo's father answered he didn't know, then she drew her sword. It was only a moment. The moment that Seo lost everything. He still can't forget it. The expression Dusa made while watching his suffering family. Being the only one who survived, Seo heard that Dusa had sided with the yokai. To take revenge, he became an exorcist. The cat jumped down on the floor and asked Seo to join them. The cat informed him that Dusa is a loyal dog of Maojio, and this cat believes that Seo will face her if he will stay with them. Dusa suddenly appeared in the window. She was smiling as she overheard everything. And what about you? You're nothing more than the Moon Priestess's pet, she said. The cat and Seo were shocked upon seeing her. Seo was in disbelief that the lady appeared all of a sudden, still as elusive as ever. How dare you show your face in front of us? The cat said with anger. The little kid who used to tremble in a safe house finally stepped outside. What do you think the reason is? Dusa stated. It turned out her companion, a gorilla, destroyed the vehicle where Seiya was. All the bodyguards of Seiya were mercilessly killed. The kid was in the hand of the gorilla and proclaimed that he finally got the Moon Priestess. And he was excited he would be granted a reward by their Lord Maojio for catching the kid. Right now, the cat panicked when he found out that Seiya was attacked. At the same time, Seo tried to catch Dusa. He used his weapon and rushed to the lady, but Dusa jumped out of the window. Seo was screaming her name with anger. He attacked her on the ground, but she managed to avoid it. She stood in front of Seo and asked his name for daring to butt into her conversation with the cat. Seo then asked her if she really didn't remember him. "Doesn't matter, you're going to die here today," he added. Dusa then calls the gorilla by his name Songseong and commands him to take the kid away. Songseong then fled while Dusa charged toward Seo. While charging, she was screaming Seo's name. At the same time, the cat was telling Seo to save Seo so the world won't be in danger. He was begging Seo. Seo was puzzled as he didn't understand what the cat was spouting. Seo waited his whole life for this moment. But even if the world were to end tomorrow, he will have his revenge for Seo, as it turned out she has the same name as his little sister. His parents told him to protect Seo whatever happens. Now, he imagined Seo was his sister, and he was mad that someone dared to lay their hands on his sister. He then dashed, chasing the gorilla, and avoided Dusa. He jumped to the building and finally saw Songseong. Songseong panicked upon seeing him. Seo then attacked him, and he let go of Seo. Seo catches his sister and lands back on the building. Songseong then also asked him why he chased him. And Seo then replied, "Letting your nemesis go just to save some kid with the same name, you are going to take responsibility for this." Songseong was sweating in fear. However, the cat interfered and declared that the test was over. Seo was confused, and all the guards of Seo appeared, including the lady. They gathered with Songseong and declared everything is just an act. They then transformed to their original form and proclaimed they were the master of acting. Oh Guangdi. One of them then told Seo that he chose to uphold righteousness over immediate revenge and saved a life. Another one also added that Seo didn't use any spells, yet he demonstrated physical abilities beyond their expectations. And his overwhelming martial prowess will be a great asset. Seo was mad that he was deceived from the very beginning. The cat then told him they cannot accept anyone, no matter how urgent the situation. According to him, Sae is the leader of exorcists, shamans, fortune-tellers, and prophets. She learned her story in advance and set up this test for Seo. Sae then handed Seo a welcoming rice cake and told him she'll forgive him for tearing up her letter. Now, she was hoping they would get along and punish the evildoers. She promised to also help once the real Dusa would appear. "I never agreed to this, so why am I in?" Seo asked. The cat then asked him if he didn't want to accept their offer, but Seo grabbed the rice cake from Sae and asked them what annoying method they would use once if he refused. "I'll do it. I think it would bother me if you died," he said. Sae smiled and said his words were reassuring. Seo suddenly squeezes her face, telling her messing with him is a different matter. At the same time, on the far mountain, a one-armed guy was praying. "You're back, what happened?" he asked when he noticed someone had come behind him. It turned out it was Sapung Dosa. It was exhilarating, the feeling of snapping a dragon's neck. She replied, but the guy said he was asking for the offerings, not her thoughts. The lady then threw him the offering he needed, and he was very satisfied that it was the dragon's heart. With this, he believes that Mayer's resurrection will be even faster. He then ordered Sapung Dosa to send out the homunjo and let the exorcist know that their era had come to an end. The next day, on the other mountain, there was a group of hikers who reached the top. One of them was about to take a photo, but he noticed a huge bird flying around. This giant bird was spotted all over the country. It was the haman, a bird with tiger stripes. Figuring out what it meant wasn't exactly rocket science. For some, it was an order. For others, a warning. In short, it was a declaration of war against exorcists. The cat of Seo told Seo about out. He informed Seo that it was the reason why he was leaving the young lady, Seo, in his care for now. What does some bird's declaration of war have to do with your skipping town? Seo asked. And the cat then replied, "You don't get it, do you?" According to the cat, Seo is the leader of the exorcist order, where every spiritual being gathers. When something like this declaration happens, Seo is the first in line to deal with it. But now that Seo is still 8 years old, the cat was aware she can't handle official duties, so he will take care of things in her place, which is why he needed to leave. Seo then concludes that chaos is waiting to happen because of a group led by a kid and a cat. And what if yokai attack while you're gone? He asked. The cat then replied that experienced exorcists are on high alert around Seo at all times. "I'm counting on you," the cat said. At the same time, Seiya woke up and let the cat leave. He then asked Seo to feed her, and Seo was so upset, stating that it isn't a warrior's duty but babysitting. Meanwhile, they went to a shopping district. Seiya was so excited since this was the first time she had seen a real shopping district. Seo was still annoyed at her, telling her she was making a fuss over going out for food. Seiya then told him it's going to be exciting, especially since this was her first time roaming the human world. Seo was shocked upon hearing it. He now realized why the cat was bouncing off the walls. The young lady went to a candy store and bought a candied fruit. They sat outside. Before she eats it, Seo told him she'll spoil her appetite if she starts with sweets. Seiya then replied that she had always been curious since she called it back then as nothing but Korean food. She then tasted it, but she was disappointed, stating that it was just a strawberry covered in sugar. That's the whole point, Seo said, and she then told him she preferred plain strawberries. Seo was staring at her for a moment and got an idea of what to give her. He told her to wait for a moment, and when he came back after a few minutes, he brought food with a flavored juice in a pouch. He informed the kid that it was a tteokbokki and that the kids liked to eat it. Seiya was curious about its taste. When she tasted it, she was amazed, proclaiming that it had a perfect mix of spicy and sweet. I've had more than my fill of this stuff. Tteokbokki is Korean food anyway, she uttered. Seo didn't expect to see that reaction coming, and now he was thinking of giving the kid something that even foreigners rave about. He brought fried chicken and told the kid to try dipping it in the tteokbokki sauce. He smiled when he saw the lady enjoying it and commented that it was crispy. However, she added that she prefers samjitang more. Seo felt insulted when the lady proclaimed that human food isn't special at all. He pulled the chicken she was holding. You just haven't had the good stuff yet, he said, and the kid replied, haven't I eaten enough? Seo was very serious, telling her she's not allowed to leave until she finds her ultimate favorite food. He began with the gourmet gauntlet, but the reaction of Seiya is still the same, which made Seo in utter defeat. It was an endless cycle. The lady wanted to try something new, but ended up saying that old-school food is better. Seo cannot figure out how to beat her old man taste buds. He remembered his younger sibling used to eat anything without a fuss. Same name, totally different person. He paused when he realized there was one thing left he could offer to Seiya. He ran while telling the lady to stay and wait for him to come back. Seiya then told him he didn't have to try so hard. But Seo continued to run, so she decided to just wait while humming. She uttered that she's totally bragging to run about this later. Seo come back without anything. Seiya was confused why he came back so fast. He held her hand, carried the unfinished food he brought for the lady, and was ready to head back home. While walking, Seiya told him he shouldn't take it too hard since she was more than satisfied. Seiya comes with him, but the way became darker. The lady ignored it and asked what he was trying to buy in the end. Seo then replied it wasn't a big deal, and the kid asked if he was sure about it. However, she feels like the guy with her wasn't Seo. Who the hell are you? You're not Hong Seo. Who's pretending to be him? She said. Busted. The guy uttered, and it turned out he was a ghost. He dropped the food on the ground, and many of the ghosts feasted on it. Seiya was watching them without any words. These ghosts seem like starving so much. The guy who copied Seo's appearance told the ghosts to save their eating for later. He instructed them to look at the girl with him. He transformed into his ghost form and said, I've brought a gourmet feast. Seiya grits her teeth. She was holding a talisman script and pasted it to the ghost's arm. A thunder appeared, and the ghost screamed in agony. She then ran away with the cut arm of the ghost holding her hand. Block the alley, don't let her escape, the leader of the ghosts screamed. The ghosts chased Seiya. The exit was almost near her. She was screaming while trying to reach the exit of the alley, but her way was blocked by the ghosts. She ordered them to get out of her way, but the ghost won't let it happen. A whole army of yakai is after you, all under Mayor's command. You think we'd just let a big-shot enemy waltz right past us? The ghost replied. This ghost told Seiya to let them devour her, since she would still be killed by Mayor. Like hell he will. Ran and I are taking him down ourselves. Seiya bravely replied. The ghost screamed, asking Seiya if she realized all the exorcists and yokai helping her started deserting the moment they saw Haman. Seiya was shocked upon hearing it. No one's betting on a little kid. You're dead meat. The ghost added, and Seiya covered her face with her hands when she saw the ghost slowly go near her. Fortunately, Seo appeared and said, Although, seems a bit beneath you to get eaten by a bunch of low-tier spirits. The ghost was startled and confused how Co was standing right next to them. Co then replied that he had been standing there from the beginning. The ghost admitted that he didn't notice Co since he looked almost the same to them. He was mad at Co, telling him to stop messing with their meal. Co summoned his weapon and punched the ghost's leader. "Oh, so now I gotta worry about you guys getting fed too? So all this chaos is because of that damn mayor scent?" he asked. The ghost leader was in pain, holding his cheek. Other ghosts were also harmed due to Co's weapon. Co walked toward Seiya and proclaimed he won't exorcise these ghosts, but passed this along to every yokai out there. He declared that those who will come after the moon priestess will be sent straight to the afterlife right alongside Mayor. Seiya crossed her arms with a smile. She was proud of Co. They then headed back home, and Seiya showed how impressed she was with Co. That should be enough to remind the yokai we're still standing. As expected of a warrior like me, she said proudly. Co tapped her head and said, "Funny how my name never comes up when you talk about talking down Mayor, but the second you're hungry, you suddenly remember me." Seiya then replied, "Well, maybe if you didn't keep leaving me behind. Where did you even go?" Co then gave her a candy, and she was puzzled that Co left her behind just because of a candy. Co also had a candy and told Seiya that his little sibling liked this candy as her favorite snack. He demoed it to Seiya, telling her it would whistle if she held it in her mouth and blew. Seiya tried it herself and was impressed that it worked. "Not much for taste, but still kinda cool, right?" Co said. Seiya replied, but Co couldn't understand it at all because she kept on whistling. He informed the kid that they would stop somewhere else before heading back home. Seiya asked where, and he replied that it may be to a capsule toy shop. Back to the hikers, they were talking about the Haman they saw, and a lady proclaimed that it was said to be a bad omen wherever it appears, bloodshed follows. Their leader then declared they would now head back to the Sea Arabial. "Wait, what? Does that mean the training trip is cancelled?" the lady asked. Their leader then replied no, it's just that they were conquering a new mountain, which is the Tezenbium, the highest peak. This guy was sitting at the dead Haman, and he added that they should see the priestess first, who was looking for him. It was one of the candidates that the cat was talking about, the leader of the Warang Gate. Priestess of the Moon, the hero who once stood against the great yokai mayor, whom even the gods could not control. She has been reincarnated as a young girl, and is under the protection of the exorcist order. But for now, she is staying at an exorcist's house. More ghosts were ordered to find and catch her. To the yokai who would capture her will be rewarded by the great yokai, Mayor, an eternal wealth and glory. Few days passed. Co and Seiya beat up another ghost who tried to kidnap the priestess. She was using a bat and dropped it on the ground while complaining that this was happening for many days. "You're like a cockroach. One got in, and now they keep crawling in," Co said. Because of these creatures, C0Oa's house is full of ominous energy, and it already feels like an abandoned house. It's even worse than that right now. Co vanquished the ghost using a talisman scripture while questioning what the exorcists who are supposed to protect Seiya are doing. Seiya carried her bag while telling Co that if this keeps happening every night, he'll be too sleep-deprived to grow taller. So now, she decided to find the cause. Co come with her. They went to a bamboo forest found in the middle of a city. Co proclaimed that this forest looks like cannot be seen by ordinary people. He's aware that this was created by sorcery. They roam around and were startled when they heard someone scream, "Arrogant exorcist." They saw a guy surrounded by many wolves. The guy was wounded. He was sitting on the ground, panting. He seems to be mad and said he almost got out. There were also ladies smiling. Co and Seiya saw them. He asked if she knew them, and she replied that she had seen these ladies a few times. Any exorcist wandering around this area was always connected to the priestess. "Tell me everything you know about the priestess," the unknown lady said. The guy then angrily replied that he had nothing to say to filthy spirits. The lady slapped him hard and told him to suit himself. The guy was terrified when he saw something coming out of his face. His face was squeezed. The ladies were laughing at him. Seiya feels pity for the guy. The guy screamed in agony. He slowly disappeared, changed into a bamboo scroll. The lady then carried the bamboo scroll and opened it widely. "Even if you don't want to talk, I can make you spill everything," she proudly said. Because of the scroll, she confirmed that the exorcist guy in front of her earlier was protecting the priestess. Behind them was their master, and she told him they had obtained new information. That is the Priestess of the Moon Watches Sparkle, Pororong series, which airs every Monday. The wolves were shocked upon hearing it. They were also told that the priestess cried at a scene where the protagonist parted ways with the little fairy Porong. Seo feels embarrassed upon hearing it. This was also the first time Seo knew about it. The lady apologized to their master, since the master was disappointed by the useless information they got. The lady added that the priestess is picky about cherry tomatoes and dislikes old women. Other than that, it's all the things they already knew. The wolves were mad, telling her the information she got was useless, and they wanted her to find out the real weakness of the priestess. Shut up. This is all because you're too weak. Even after I shared the priestess's location, you fools get beaten every time, she replied with anger. Seo was in disbelief at the fact that the female yokai named Jinrai can turn people into bamboo scrolls to read their memories. This situation is worse than I thought. Let's get out of here. It's too dangerous, Seo said. He was ready to leave, but Seo refused. That is because she saw bamboo scrolls piled up where the leader yokai was sitting. She concludes that these scrolls might be transformed by ordinary people. Seo doesn't want to leave them without doing anything. She told Seo they must save those people, but Seo was hesitant since there were too many yokai. Seo gets something from her bag and explains that yokai hordes tend to scatter when their leader falls. She drew their plan on a piece of paper. She wants Seo to use his magic to draw the small fry's attention. Meanwhile, she will sneak in, and if she is able to seal the leader, she believes the other yokai will scatter. According to her, the type of spell they use is key. She asked Seo's specialty, and as per Seo, it's a transmutation, objects turn into spheres. He was playing with a ball with his right hand, and the kid asked him if he was planning to play ball or if there was something else. Seo was puzzled. He then replied that it is all he can do. Seo was dumbfounded as she concluded that during the test, it wasn't that Seo didn't use magic, but it was because he couldn't use it. What kind of exorcist can't use magic? You're not really an exorcist, are you? She asked angrily. And Seo replied, even if I'm just a low-ranking one, I'm still an exorcist. Seo was shocked to hear from him that he's just a low-ranking. Seo then said that there is something else he can do, but it isn't magic. At the same time, there was a monster above him, and this monster suddenly screamed. The yokai around stopped discussing since the scream caught their attention. Right now, Seo carried Seo and proclaimed they had been discovered. The leader of the yokai and Jinrai screamed, believing that Seo was the priestess they were searching for. All the monsters then dashed to get Seo from Seo. They surrounded Seo, and Seo started attacking them with his weapon. He dodged and slashed several monsters. He was very serious, staring at the monsters in front of him. The monsters paused as they got scared. So that's it. That's why the yokai couldn't capture the priestess. Jinrai stated. At this stage, Seo believes that Seo's plan would still work out since everyone is now distracted. We just have to get her to the main yokai, right? He asked. He also told Seo to hold on tight, and Seo wrapped the bamboo and asked Seo if she did right. Seo didn't respond and strongly hit the bamboo where Seo was wrapping. The bamboo was instantly cut. He carried it, and the kid was holding it upside down. She was wondering what Seo was trying to do. She felt the bamboo swing. It turned out Seo threw the bamboo toward the yokai leader. Seo was screaming since she never expected it. The bamboo struck the yokai leader's forehead. The yokai lay on the bamboo scroll pile, and Seo then seized the opportunity by getting a talisman and pasting it to the yokai's face. A golden thunder appeared, and the yokai was screaming, but it suddenly smiled evilly and stood. Seo was shocked when she figured out that the seal resisted. The yokai's head was flaming. His aura was different this time. Seo was worried for Seo. He was about to rescue her, but then Jinrai touched his face and wrapped his body, asking him why he was in such a hurry. The cheek of Seo was spinning. He then ordered Seo to get away from the yokai. Seo becomes a bamboo scroll just like the others. The yokai leader was smiling, heading to catch Seo. Seo was in disbelief that Seo vanished and became a scroll. She screamed his name out of fear that she couldn't help Seo come back to his original form. On the other hand, a train attendant wanted to pass through the train's aisle, but her way was blocked and she was not allowed to go further, even though she tried forcing them. Two guys were blocking the way, and they told the attendant that this was only for her safety, so she must comply with their instructions, as it was dangerous beyond the point where they were standing. It turned out that the leader of the Warang Gate was there together with a small old man he calls an elder. He asked his elder what would happen if a yokai got a homon, and the elder sipped a tea and told him he calls himself a master of wind and moon, but doesn't even know the answer to his question. According to him, those yokai who would get homon will get stronger, and their appearance changes to resemble a tiger. Over time, a yokai that adapts to the homon returns to its original form and gains the ability to ignore sealing spells. After hearing it, the leader of the Warang Gate replied that it was boring. The elder then reminded him that sealing techniques are a core part of exorcism, and most exorcists can't handle a yokai that has adapted to a homon. In front of them was a yokai that turned into a tiger monster, and this was the reason why the train attendant wasn't allowed to enter. Back to Saya, she jumped towards Seo, which turned into a bamboo scroll. The wolves were staring at her. They were surrounding her, and one of them said, "You sure know how to fight with that small body." Saya was shaking in pain. One wolf teases her, saying she's crying, and he says it was fun to bully her. Saya then attacked him with a talisman and immediately ran, carrying the scroll that's almost the same size as her. The wolf she attacked exploded and died. Saya was worried about Seo. One wolf, unfortunately, kicked her, causing her to fly away. "Did you really think you could mess with yokais and just run away?" A wolf asked. Saya was holding a talisman to fight back, but she was grabbed by a wolf and all her talisman dropped on the ground. She was screaming, telling the wolf to let her go. The wolf was surprised that she was resisting a lot, which made him think she couldn't cast spells without a talisman. "No way. I'm super strong even without one," Saya replied. She was stuttering. She was sweating. That is because she was lying. The wolf knew she lied as he had seen weak exorcists rely on talismans, and he never thought a leader of exorcists was too pathetic. Saya was mad that she was called pathetic. She bit the wolf, and the wolf screamed in pain and let go of her. The wolf pushed her to the ground and wanted to bully her more, but Jinrai interfered and said, "Enough playing around. Just hand over the priestess already." The wolf refused and claimed Saya is now his trophy, since he was the one who caught her. "Well, I suppose that's the yokai way. The priestess is yours. Only if you're stronger than my master," Jinrai replied. The wolf's head exploded, and the other wolves were terrified. "Oh dear, the yokai who caught the priestess is dead? If anyone else wants to get crushed by my master's telekinesis, speak up now," Jinrai uttered. She then asked her master if they should now head straight to their Lord Maugio, and her master answered using its own word. Jinrai then warned Saya that she should behave herself and follow them if she didn't want to be turned into a bamboo scroll. Saya was worried no one would be left to save everyone now that she was captured. She was thinking of a way, forcing herself, since this was exactly why she had been training all this time. She was crying every time she trained, just because she was scared for the future. The cat was always with her, reminding her to become stronger, and telling her that the fate awaiting her is far harsher than her training. She had a training in the middle of a river back then, and she was hopeless to cross it, afraid she would drown. The cat motivates her, informing her that all things in this world possess ki. According to the cat, a river carries cool ki as it flows into open spaces. A rock holds firm ki, strong enough to endure rushing waters. This ki applies even to things beyond their perception, like how a dog finds its way home from afar, how birds soar through the sky, or how the red thread of fate ties two people together. The cat advises Saya to look to the ki in times of crisis, as it will show her a broader world and the answers she seeks. Upon recalling that conversation Saya had with the cat, she finally thought of a way. She applied it to the current situation she was facing, and because of it, she finally saw that the lady yokais are connected to the things hanging from their necks with their master yokai. Also, she felt that the ominous energy from the bamboo scroll Seo turned into his luring her to open it. However, she was hesitant, so she thought more. Then, she remembered the time when Seo was trying to explain something. She then opened the scroll, facing it to Jinrai. A black with reddish smoke coming out of it. There are tentacles that appeared, and they wrapped around Jinri's body. She was screaming for help, and Saya, this time, finally had a chance to run and went back to her talismans. "OM. Urgent Sakri Svaha," she uttered as she was casting a spell using 6 talismans. A golden light emerged. This light blinded the leaded yokai. His aura disappeared. He angrily pointed to Saya and gave an order to his servants. Jinrai then charged towards Saya together with her companion. Seiya then said, I was always taught that giving up is when you truly lose. So I'll keep fighting. Because I'm the priestess who will save the world. She was holding something. The yokai leader screamed in anger. Her servants were already behind Seiya. But then Seiya cast magic using the thing she summoned while wishing Seo to turn back to normal. There was an azure power coming out from the scroll. The servants were frozen because of it. They knelt on the ground against their will. I will obey your command, master. They said. Behind them was Seo. He was mad and charged toward the yokai leader with a clenched fist. The yokai leader activated a shield, but then it shattered, and he flew away the moment Seo strongly punched him. He bumped into the bamboo, and Seo punched him again, not once, but several times, until Seo's clenched fist bled. The servants and Seiya were impressed by how Seo fought. The wolves were also dumbfounded, and immediately ran to escape. Seo's aura was very scary. He walked back to Seiya, and Seiya immediately ran to him. I told you from the start it was dangerous. Now that you know what you were up against. He didn't complete his words upon seeing Seiya looked like a mess. Seiya was smiling at him and said, We won. Seo was worried seeing her in pain, but she claimed she was perfectly fine. We're going to keep fighting anyway. This much is nothing, she added, but she passed out, which panicked Seo. That's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, comment for another part, and subscribe to this channel for more content like this. Till next time.